Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. On the 24th of December 2022, I made a video on an article coming from I think one of the Ukrainian media outlets stating that the British head of the intelligence department, Mr. Ben Wallace, that guy, said that Russia ran out of missiles and rockets, therefore Russia is incapable of conducting any more massive missile attacks. That was on the 24th. Right now we are on the 31st, right? So that's 24th, 31st. Now since then Russia conducted not one but two massive missile attacks. So that guy lost his credibility. Not that he had any, because he was from the intelligence services of Great Britain, which told us the truth during the Iraq war, where a few countries were destroyed in the process based on false information. So let's see what happened now, because the Russians allegedly, or not reportedly, conducted another massive attack today on the 31st of December. And this is reported by the Ukrainians. Now I don't know if the Ukrainians really report this because it makes a good PR for them in the West, portraying the Russians as being beasts, or really that occurred. I didn't read the article. I was looking for numbers of missiles, like they usually provide and say this amount of missiles and all that. I don't think I saw any, but I have to read while I'm with you here. On the 29th, I think it was another massive missile attack from Russia, and the Russians used 140 missiles. I think that was the biggest attack that the Russians conducted, missile attack conducted by the Russians since the beginning of this, however you want to call it, special military operation, attack, invasion, war, doesn't really matter, but you know what I'm talking about. So, this article comes from Ukrinform. It is from the 31st of December 2022. And on December 31st, 2022, during Russia's another massive missile attack on the territory of Ukraine, enemy projectiles hit a military object and filling station in the Khmelnytsky region. So they hit finally some military object. I don't know what that was, but anyway, they said another massive missile attack. The relevant statement was made by Khmelnytsky Regional Military Administration head Serhiy Hamali on Telegram, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. And I'm quoting, during today's missile attack, a military object was hit in the city of Khmelnytsky. Equipment was damaged. Additionally, a filling station was struck, Hamali noted. In his words, the enemy caused damage to 8 transport vehicles, 13 residential houses, and warehouse facilities. Critical infrastructure remained intact. Relevant works are underway to eliminate negative effects and provide medical aid to those affected. According to Hamali, 8 civilians were taken to hospital. The youngest person is 19 years old. A young woman, 22, is in serious condition. A reminder that on December 31st, 2022, Russia launched another missile attack on Ukraine energy and civil infrastructure. Ukraine's air defense forces shot down 12 out of 20 enemy cruise missiles in such regions as Kiev, Zhytomyr, and Khmelnytsky. So, as of now, it's just 20. I say 20 because you can't compare 20 with 140, correct? Correct. So that's the massive attack. Now they give an update here of what happened today overall in the Ukrainian front. And it says Ukrainian air forces launched 7 strikes on enemy positions. Over the past day, Ukrainian Air Force have launched 6 strikes on enemy positions, clusters, and 1 air defense system positions. Ukraine's missiles and artillery units hit 2 Russian personnel and military equipment clusters and 1 command post. And it says that the enemy launched a massive missile attack. Again, they say between 12:40 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. the enemy launched a massive missile attack. According to preliminary data, about 20 missiles were fired. Some of them failed to reach Ukraine and failed on the territory of Russia, like idiots, This information is yet to be checked, the report states. Ukraine's air defense forces and units destroyed 12 enemy cruise missiles in such regions as Kiev, Zhytomyr, and Khmelnytsky. In the Kiev region, Russia's Orlan-10 unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, was shot down, which conducted air reconnaissance during the missile attack in order to reveal Ukraine's air defense system positions. Additionally, Russian troops have opened fire with multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS, 12 times over the past days, namely on the civil infrastructure in Donetsk region and the Kherson region. According to the General Staff, the threat of Russia's missile and air strikes is persisting all over Ukraine. In the Liman and Bakhmut direction, Russian troops continue conducting offensive actions. In the Kupiansk and Avdiivka directions, Russian invaders are making attempts to improve their tactical position. So the Russians continue conducting offensive actions. They must be doing great if they mention here this kind of thing. In the Volyn, Polisia, Siversky, and Sobolzansky directions, there are no signs of any offensive grouping being formed. In the Siversky and Sloboyansky directions, Russian troops launched artillery and mortar strikes on Suny's region. In the Kupiansk direction, the enemy struck the Kharkiv regions, and we have about 7 settlements, as well as in Luhansk regions, and it says Advivka, Stelmaklivka. In the Liman direction, Russian invaders opened fire on the Luhansk regions, and in the ancestry settlements here, as well as Donetsk regions, Chervonopapivka, Terny, and Torske. In the Bakhmut direction, over 20 settlements came under enemy fire, including the Donetsk regions, Spirne, Soledar, Bakhmutske, Bakhmut, Konstantinivka, Kurdimka, Mayorsk, and New York. In the Avdiivka direction, Russian troops shelled the Donetsk regions and got like 7 settlements. In the Novopavlivka direction, Russian occupiers struck the Donetsk region. In the Zaporozhye direction, Russian troops and tanks, mortars, and cannon artillery attacked 13 settlements. In the Kherson direction, Russian occupiers attacked civil infrastructure, and in Kherson and Tokarivka. And then same old, Russian occupiers are involving civilians in setting up engineering barriers within the temporarily occupied areas in such regions as Donetsk, Luhansk, and Kherson. So the Russians continue their attacks, and not only attacks, but they advance in Bakhmut, and a massive missile attack again. So I don't know if Mr. Ben Wallace did his job, and probably he did, because the intelligence community is not only to provide reliable information, but also disinform. That's part of the job description. That's their job, to create, counter information and provide the wrong information for weasels. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.